Mambo VP. Hi everyone, my name is Rodrick Msechu and welcome to the Investors Hack with Serengeti Angels and my co-host with me.
Mambo. My name is Francis again. Welcome to Investor Hack by Serengeti Angels Network.
So today we are delighted to have a very esteemed guest that is joining us at the Investors Hack, and it's none other than Umulinga Karangwa.
Mambo everyone, I'm Umulinga Karangwa. I'm from Rwanda and I'm very lucky to be on this show today with Rodrick and Francis.
So welcome Umulinga and Francis, nice to have you back. Sometimes you are there, sometimes you are not.
A long time. Back to the show.
Yeah. So Umulinga has a lot of experience with in the VC space, in angel investment, but just tell us a little bit about your journey, your personal journey, and how you got into investment. And obviously later on, I'm very curious to hear your story about the angel networks in Rwanda, but in Cape Town. So let's start. Pole. Let's start with how you started your journey.
Thank you very much for the question. So my background is investments. My day job for the past 20 years has been to look at investment opportunities. And for the past 17 years, I have been investing in Africa. And I have done it not because it's easy and super lucrative, because I'm really passionate about investing on the continent and creating job opportunities for all Africans. The thing that makes me sad sometimes is how hard it is for the youth in Africa to find jobs. I started being an angel, not as an accident, but it wasn't really planned. One of my friends, who's from the DRC and who also is in the diaspora like me, not in DRC, she told me, Umu, let's join an angel syndicate. And I was like, I'm not sure. And she says, no, it's good for this, for learning, etc. My first take on startups, and that was maybe 10 years ago, was that 90% of startups fail. And so investing is like a gamble. Yeah. And I wasn't seeing much more than that. And that's why, for the investment background, I thought I should invest in more secure investments. But then I joined Future Africa, which today is close to angel investors, single angel investors, but was a really good place for me to learn because I got to invest on the side of very experienced angels. And I got to understand the impact that entrepreneurs have in Africa. And also because Africa has a lack of everything from infrastructure to financial services to health, etc. Startups can do much more than in other places because there are so many gaps to fill. And what I like the most about investing in startups is that entrepreneurs create a lot of opportunities, jobs around themselves for the communities, and that even when they fail, they created jobs, they gave opportunities for people to gain skills, and also they inspired the youth to try and be entrepreneurs. And it's really important because we need young kids to think it's possible to create opportunities for yourself. There's not enough formal employment on the continent, and having kids believe that they can do it as entrepreneurs is really important to keep the hope and avoid that they end up in forced migration or that they just don't live a fulfilling life. That's really why I do angel investing, because it really creates massive hope and jobs, even though they might not be jobs for the long term because many startups fail. These are jobs that are very good in terms of impact on the society.
Yeah. So on the long term, even if the startups fail, what they put in place helps to motivate our people, but it also helps to inspire and create jobs. So failure is part and parcel of the process. But this, I feel like it's easier for men to have this a similar mindset where, okay, I'll do this and fail, while ladies traditionally are very conservative in that space. But we'll also want to hear a bit about your work in that space. But before we go there, in this podcast, if you did not know, now you know, we have to test your Swahili.
Okay.
So what can you say in Kiswahili? And Francis, you have to translate that for us.
Yeah, no problem. That's very easy.
So I will start by the one that is known globally, Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata.
Yeah. Then I know an equivalent, Hakuna Shida.
Hakuna Shida. Yeah, that we like it more.
Like.
Yeah, and we like it more. We use it more here.
Yeah, Hakuna Matata is like for foreigners. Hakuna Shida is like, you're on the street and they mean the same thing.
They mean the same thing. Yeah. And you hear them so much,
Yeah.
This is not working, Hakuna Shida. This is late, Hakuna Shida.
When you're in Tanzania, you tend not to have high blood pressure because everyone tells you it's okay, calm down. The things that you hear a lot more is everything is all right or everything will be all right.
Yes.
There's no problem.
Yes.
And even if the world is going down, but you still have a sense of hope when you're in Tanzania. I think that's one of the key takeaways.
Good for the blood pressure. So I can also say, in that sense, of course I can greet Mambo, Jumbo, and then I can Poa, Mambo VP, etc. And when I was young, so that would be like, when I was in my teens, there was this song from Brenda Fassie that I really liked, Mus Mus, Haraka, Haraka, Hana Baraka. And I think that also reflects the chill that, people should be in.
Haraka, Haraka, Haina Baraka.
Yes. That I know. I also know Mbere Iko Sawa.
Mbele Iko Sawa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for you, Umu, I think Kiswahili is not a problem. You speak it.
So it's almost very. I mean, you are from Rwanda. You live in Cape Town. From Cape Town.
Francis, you're West African.
No, but he is closer to learning Swahili more than me because he's already in that context. Like
I have less excuses to be bad at Swahili than you.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I agree with that.
But of course, I know I've been here for too long, but Francis, structured to be able to learn that.
Francis, how is your French? You're from West Africa. Everyone in West Africa speaks.
No, not everyone.
Apart from your country.
Just because we are bigger than most of even the French speaking. So we influence French speaking to speak English. They don't influence us to speak French. So that's the difference. I mean, maybe Ghana could be, I don't know. Okay, I'm not going to Ghana fight, but they are kind of flanked a lot with French countries. So they could be more to learn French than we do. We're a massive population, 200 million people. You can't expect Benin to influence us to speak French. Yeah.
So I think last time we spoke in French when we met in Cape Town.
Yeah, you speak good French.
So for me, I think it's important for the continent to connect, like speaking French and Swahili and another language, maybe Yoruba one day, really helps to connect with the people. But let's go back to Umulinga. So you started some angel networks. Just tell us a little bit about that now that you joined Future Africa and then you saw how you co-invested with experienced angels, but your background is in finance as well. So that really helped you to ease into angel investment.
That's very true. So I think that because of my background in finance, having gone to school in finance and then having worked in finance for 20 years, I was a bit scared to invest in startups. So that might have been a deterrent. But once I was in it and once I saw the massive impact that startups are delivering, of course, my financial background would help because anything around syndication, anything around, valuation or terms is easier if you have the background. I was also super lucky to go through the African Angel Academy training, which gave me a lot of confidence in terms of leading deals and also in terms of organizing an angel network. Before that, I never thought I could actually lead on a deal. I thought that if I see something interesting, I must ask another angel, what do you think? What should we do? Etc.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then AAA was a fantastic program for me because you would learn piece by piece. You would learn from angels, so like not from sitting on the call, not from experts, from angels, from Victoria Ventures, from Lagos Angel Network, from Rising Dad Africa, from Josie Angels. So they would tell you what they went through, and that was a great way to learn from people that you can relate to. And also, you had time to discuss your deals, because when I was part of a syndicate, I was listening, I was taking in information. That was not really a safe place to ask questions or to try experience on things. And AAA, so African Angel Academy, they got us into the real world of angel investing by organizing a showcase where we saw startups that were really raising funds. And those startups, we like starting engaging with them, and one of them received investments, not from us, but from other angels. And that was like a very practical case study of what goes on. And after that, you have enough to go and do it on your own. I was really lucky to be part of Nairobi Business Angels in the first group that created it. So it was led by Nick Villel, who's really dedicated to building the ecosystem based in Nairobi. And he took all of us, the group of 25, 30 people, alumni of AAA, and then he organized us as a network. And that was really powerful because we had gone through all this learning together. There was a lot of, like, we trusted each other, we knew each other, we understood each other. Some that came from an entrepreneur background were different from people like me, from a financial background. But we had like these 6 months to interact with each other and start on a very, very, very good base. And I think that we often underestimate the human component of angel investing. We are social animals. Doing things as a group is very powerful, but there are a lot of considerations to factor in. The size of the group, giving space to people, the minimum structure level, etc. And AAA was a great way to start an angel network. And also we benefited from coaching and mentoring, because AAA does give you the basics of angel investing, but that is not enough to become an angel investor in network. So they help you to structure a network. They help you go through the first hurdles, like paying bills. How do we do our documentation without like paying an arm and a leg in legal costs, all these things. So that was a great way to become a network that was organized. So we owe a lot to AAA and the funders.
Yeah, but they also took you in to help with the Francophone Africa, because you're famous. One of our angels who moved to Ivory Coast. So I sent him. I told him about you, and he's like, yeah, she's my teacher. Yes.
Oh yeah, French.
I'm very happy to pass on what I learned, and also I think that I have this side of me that it's quite natural to teach and share, etc. And maybe everybody else refused. That's what it took me.
No, I don't think so. I mean, you've done like amazingly well in a very short time. And how you transition, working with different in the networks. I think you have, you've experienced almost everything, and it becomes you bring all of this together to support like aspiring angels. It's not an accident. I don't think so. I mean, you have what it takes, and also what the ground you are breaking with your networks, also running syndication. I think that's good experience to share.
What I'm picking from this, and we will reach out to you, Umulinga, because there are a lot of things we want to do as SBAN in the ecosystem. But I love that you've said on camera that you love to share and help out. So expect me to text and ask for tips, because we are looking for ways to unlock more capital with the Serengeti Angels, but with other development partners, and some of them we are going to meet together. So at this point, I'm grateful that you came to Dar es Salaam to
It's my pleasure. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah. So now tell us about the Angel Network in Rwanda.
So we created Business Angels Rwanda 3 years ago, and we've done one deal as a syndicate, and then we've done other deals separately, because our syndicate had faced many challenges, and it was actually easy to go direct into the startups. The network supported a startup that later on got matching fund from the bill, and not Catalytic. Catalytic is easy to do when you're an organized network, but BAR is not. Business Angels Rwanda, which we call BAR because it's a nice name, is not that organized. We're facing a lot of hurdles in terms of like setting up the foundation, etc. So we haven't received Catalytic. But we received support from GIZ that was really catalytic in terms of like getting us organized. And the startup we invested in also got funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. which is a great success in terms of follow-on investment. So Rwanda is a country that has a lot of potential for startups, and it's exciting to be part of it. But I would say things are quite tedious in terms of admin. We realize that it's not that easy to invest in the local structure. The setup is not as easy as in jurisdictions that we see a lot of investment with, and it's the same with Nairobi Business Angels. Doing deals locally in Kenya is more difficult than investing into a Delaware entity through an offshore syndicate. We don't have the best legal infrastructure in Africa, sadly, for angel investment. So yeah, that's a key hurdle.
I would say it's the same for us here. It's the same for us, but there is some exciting news that was shared recently of a deal that was done with, is it Kigali?
Your cross-border
transaction.
Yes.
Indeed. So Kigali International Financial Center is a very good platform for any type of investments, including early stage. And KFC is like a financial center, like the AFC and others. And they've set up a framework where doing documentation and execution is relatively easier than in other African countries. Rwanda also has an excellent legal environment, is attractive in many ways, and investors trust the platform. So African Business Angel Network, who you're part of, who's this leading network of 60 plus angel investor network, has set up an SPV in Kigali International Financial Center to crowd in investment from all over the continent for angels to go into startups. It's a very powerful tool to leverage the size of the continent, because right now, if NIBAN and surrogate angels or business angels would go together to do a deal, we can't really easily leverage our size because we have to choose one of the domiciles or maybe go outside of the continent. So ABAN was able to use the KFC entity to crowd in that investment from many countries in Africa and the diaspora very smoothly with relatively quick and reasonable KYC requirements, because that's also like a big hurdle in general, and very efficient cost-wise also. It's a great advancement. I really hope to see many people use that SPV. So the more it grows, the best it is in terms of efficiencies and synergies.
SPV is for ABAN under KFC.
Yes.
And for the transaction you've done, the same SPV they need to create another one, or the same one can be used for another transaction?
The same one can be used for the transaction, indeed.
So that means you just have to add more members to
exactly.
The SPV.
Yeah. And it's very effective.
The benefit of setting up the SPV with KFC is capital gain gain tax are zero.
So KFC has set up a legal and tax framework that is attractive for investors. So they minimize tax friction on capital gains and dividends. Otherwise, on other things, you would pay tax. And it's not about tax avoidance. It's about really making it efficient for capital to move around the continent.
That's very good incentive for angel investors, because small ticket sizes, you don't want too many legal procedures and all of that. So I think KFC could be like what you've done with ABAN. I think is something that maybe other countries can maybe also replicate and see how they can maybe deliver on that. That could really push the angel investing agenda in places like market like Tanzania.
Absolutely. I think that what ABAN has done is very powerful, because they have this huge network they are now going to deploy the same platform with. It was actually, I would say, pioneered by Dakar Network of Angels, DNA, the Senegalese network, who was using KFC for the deals, because they found that
Senegal.
Exactly.
Senegal is like our role model right now. They are going to Kigali then.
So the thing they couldn't go around in Senegal easily was the capital control that are very strict. So it's impossible to send money outside for capital investments. So it's very, very difficult. And DNA chose Kigali so they could pull in the savings from themselves and the diaspora to invest in startups in West Africa.
And so you are based in Mauritius and Cape Town.
Yes.
Which of the cities do you prefer?
So I love both. That's why I live in both. Mauritius is more of my time than Cape Town, and Mauritius has still the best infrastructure for investments and investment management, which is what I do. Because angel investment is a hobby and a passion, and I have a day job. Because like every angel in Africa, I haven't had an exit yet.
Yeah.
So both are very attractive. I mean, Cape Town is a city I love for its natural beauty, its energy, and its like I love art, and it's a city that is really good for artists and is making it easy for art lovers to see artist work through like the first Thursdays and through
First Thursday.
yes.
Yeah. I want to be in Cape Town every first Thursday. And then Friday morning I leave.
Yeah, I mean Cape Town is a very interesting city. I love being there. Mauritius is where most of my work happens because investments, the investments I do in terms of size are large scale. They crowd in a lot of capital from the continent, but also from outside, and that requires this type of legal framework. Mm.
But you do also do some work in Tanzania. You have some LPs.
So I've been working with investors in Tanzania. Tanzania is still a very young market, but highly promising. I think that long-term savings are large through your public pension funds, and they're going to lead the way in terms of investing for long-term projects. VC is not an obvious one for them, but the fact that you have such a large amount of long-term savings that are being put to work is really going to like catalyze the rest in terms of like retail investors going into different asset classes, including alternatives, like what angel investment is. You have a very young population and like that has increasing income and hopefully increasing willingness to save and invest. So I think a lot is going to happen here. It's a great time, I think, to launch a network like you're doing. I know you have intentions to launch a fund, and I encourage you to do it because there will be people that are interested, either retail or institutional, local or foreign, to co-invest with you with the pipeline that you have. So I encourage you to do.
Thank you very much for that plus.
We'll work on it. So maybe to just wrap up with Francis and then Umulinga in the next 2 minutes.
It's nice having Umulinga here in terms of your experience from Tanzania to West Africa to South Africa. So I mean, I'm really excited. I've learned a lot from what you're doing. I'm really inspired.
Thank you.
And just one thing for me to close, and maybe you can share when you're closing, is what do you think is the role of female or women in angel investing or catalyzing investing, and what will you suggest to a corporate or a female out there that thinking to see how would they support like make companies are listed and all that?
That's a very important question, and that is really very dear to me. The involvement of women in investments and angel investing. It is very important to have women angels because that's the best way, I think, to get funding to women entrepreneurs. Africa is not the worst because Africa has the highest rate in the world of women entrepreneurs out of necessity, but they struggle to access capital. Most of the capital at every stage, whether it's early stage or debt later or larger investment by private equity later, it's mostly going to male founders. So having more women angel investors is really important to try balance this gender disparity, and it's not easy, I think, to attract women investors. In my opinion, we are, I think, naturally more risk averse, and I think we are less naturally likely to think that we have the best idea. So to be an investor and a fund manager or a lead angel, you must think that you have a superior power at knowing what is going to do really well, and that's not natural to many women compared to men. So I think that it's really important that you have, if you want this intensa to be different, that you have an intentional drive to recruit women angels. That is the case of Nairobi Business Angels. So NIBAN has today 49% of its members as women, and we have like 150 plus members. We're a very large network today for African standards. And that was down to, so we were very lucky that we were trained through AAA as 50-50. So really AAA was the start, was the catalyst in this. So we were 50-50 women and men in that AAA cohort. Then we formed an angel, and then thankfully Nick, who is a man, thought that this was a very important thing and decided to keep the 50-50 balance when we were recruiting new angels, and going from like 35 something to 150 plus, we managed to keep it. It wasn't easy. It meant that we had to push our women angels to go and recruit more. It meant that we had to use some form of positive discrimination towards women applicants and men applicants. And if you don't do it, it doesn't work, because there will be more applicants that are men than applicants that are women, just because of our, I think, natural inclination to natural risk appetite and natural willingness to put ourselves forward and say, like, I know how to invest, I can make good deals. So you should really have an intentional policy for that. I'm always very happy to help if you want to recruit women angels. No, I will help, because I think it's really important.
Yeah.
But to be very honest, when we met you in Cape Town, Francis and I thought we really need to make you our friend. So we are happy that you're here. And to close, I would say thank you for coming down to Dar, but attending and being part of the Investors Hack podcast with SBAN.
It was a great pleasure.
Yeah, and kwaherini, bye-bye, au revoir.
Kwaheri.